Thank you for joining us here tonight on Halton News. It's Wednesday, September 2nd, and I'm Jessica Kading. Only one additional COVID-19 case reported in Halton since yesterday. We currently have 26 active cases in the region. That's 7 in Burlington, 10 in Oakville, 9 in Milton, and Halton Hills is currently clear of the virus. The Money Mart in Milton was the target of a robbery last night. It was still daylight at 7:30 p.m. when a lone male entered, lifted his shirt to reveal a handgun, and demanded cash. The store employee was able to press the panic button, causing the would-be robber to flee the scene, but Halton police have since been able to make an arrest. 23-year-old Davis of Scarborough has been charged with robbery with a firearm and possession of a weapon for a dangerous purpose, despite the fact that the gun was determined by police to be plastic. With September having arrived, the big thing on everyone's mind is the return to school, especially in this new COVID-19 context. The Halton District School Board has released videos to prepare parents and teachers for what to expect. Here's a look to what school will look like for those in kindergarten through grade 8.
We continue to encourage students to walk or wheel to school. It's good for your health and the environment. If using school transportation, students will be assigned to a specific seat on a bus. Non-medical masks will also be required for students in grades 1 to 8 while riding the bus. Once you arrive at the school, staff will be outside to greet you as they always are. Each school will communicate where you will go on the first day to meet your teacher. Each school will have specific entrances for students and will let you know which entrance you will use. A sign on the door is similar to the self-assessment poster you have at home. Visitors are not permitted inside the school. Your parent or guardian will be asked to avoid making appointments for you if possible during the school day. Your parent or guardian should contact the school by phone if you have an appointment and need to be picked up during the day. The staff will provide information regarding pickup. Grade 1 to 8 students must wear non-medical face masks, while those in kindergarten are encouraged to wear a face mask before entering school. Student and staff will follow the spacing markings on the floor and stay to the right when walking in the hallway to their classroom. Some stairways will be designated as one-way only. Schools will have protocols for using elevators and lifts. Students will enter through the designated entrance communicated by the school and will sanitize their hands. The school will have signage throughout the building showing the route to your classroom and support the preventative measures that will be practiced throughout the day. As you enter the building, you will be reminded by staff and signage to maintain physical distancing. Inside the building, staff will be wearing personal protective equipment and instructing students to use hand sanitizer. Students will remain with their class throughout the day in their classroom. School will emphasize outdoor learning when possible. Once students are in class, they will be positioned 1 meter apart. There will be a teacher zone, a teacher wearing PPE. Students will stay in the same cohort each and every day. Portables will also include hand sanitizer. Students will leave their classroom following the same procedure they followed when entering the classroom. This will include students walking to and from portables adhering to the same protocol as indoors. Also, libraries and gyms will be repurposed for different uses, such as additional classroom spaces. Though play structures will be closed, nutrition breaks will take place outside as usual, and students wearing masks can remove them outside. Students will remain with their class in designated areas of the outdoor school space. Also, you will eat your lunch in your classroom if you stay at school for lunch. Students who go home for lunch will be required to follow school processes. While COVID measures are in place, students will not be permitted to leave school to purchase lunch off-site. Although water fountains will be unavailable for use, students can fill their reusable water bottle at water filling stations. Bring a refillable water bottle to school each day. Lockers will not be available for use. Students will be required to bring everything home at the end of each day, including any personal devices and lunch waste.
To watch that video in its entirety, please visit rsp.hdsb.ca/videos, where you'll also see a video posted on what to expect this year in our public high schools. As mentioned yesterday, a new law came into effect today that affects the way the protester at Fearman's pork processing facility can conduct themselves. This new law was implemented after the tragic death of Regan Russell, who was run over by one of the transport trucks hauling pigs. In that case, there was intention to stop the truck from moving, which is no longer allowed and is now punishable with up to $15,000 in fines. To be clear, protesters still have the right to be there, and they were still able to provide water to the pigs today, as they usually do. To be in compliance with the new law, the protesters are now standing on the median on Harvester Road, just east of Appleby Line, and providing the pigs with water while the truck is stopped at the red light. If you've missed the camaraderie of working out at Peter Gilgan's YMCA in Oakville, it's time to celebrate its reopening. Nikki Wesley has that story.
The Peter Gilgan YMCA in Oakville is preparing to open their doors to members next week. Regional Vice President for YMCAs of Oakville and Niagara, Kathy Ann White.
This week we are doing a little dress rehearsal with our friends and family, and for us that includes our staff and some of our volunteers, and this was just an opportunity for us to test all the new processes and procedures and make sure that they are going to provide the best possible member experience through someone else's eyes, right? So, and you know, your family's going to be brutally honest.
Members are asked to sign up for a specific workout time to help monitor capacity in the building. There's a new COVID screening app that must be completed 2 hours before signing in. And of course, new sanitizing protocols.
We're asking them to wipe equipment before and after use with sanitizing wipes that we provide. And these are called Certainty wipes, and they're quite effective, 99.9% of germs and bacteria. That's step one. When they finish using equipment, we're asking them to drop it in the box. You'll see around the facility boxes and stations so that our staff can come by and disinfect. This is with a different product, 99.9999% effective, and that is our second layer. Throughout the day, every 4 hours, we will close the facility and do a third electrostatic spray disinfection for contact surfaces. And that closure also allows us to refresh the air exchange.
In addition to fogging during these scheduled closures, they are utilizing the new HVAC systems that were recently improved. This will refresh the air without people in the environment.
So these are some of the measures that we're taking, in addition to carving out physically distanced workout stations and pods, and establishing spots in our group fitness that are 2 meters or in some cases 3 meters apart, depending on the class, so that people have space. And once you're settled in that spot, in your box or at your station, you can take your mask off. But we are asking people to wear their masks at all other times.
Some classes have been modified to fit new protocols, and some new classes have also been added.
Every day between 11 and 12, we will have a special hour for older adults, 65 plus. We're going to be offering a gentle fit class or an aqua fit class at that time of day. And this is set aside so that that group of perhaps more vulnerable people in our community can feel safe.
While this trial opening has given an opportunity for feedback that has helped fine-tune some of the signage and pathways, it has also demonstrated a hitch that they didn't anticipate.
Everybody's really happy to come back. And, you know, when you're talking about your friends and family, and staff and volunteers, many of them haven't seen each other for a while. Now, the challenge with that is it's very easy to fall into old habits and want to get close, and people are resisting the urge to hug, and they're talking, you know, they want to run in and talk in close proximity. So reinforcing that even though we're wearing a mask, we're actually still trying to keep ourselves apart has been an interesting challenge.
The YMCA looks forward to welcoming you back on Tuesday morning at 8 a.m. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Nikki Wesley.
Development in Burlington's downtown core remains a hot topic among residents, but now an end is in sight for the city's much-debated official plan. Some changes have been made to this official plan to divide the core into more manageable precincts with distinct development guidelines. Here now is a preview of this week's episode of Burlington Matters, talking about what Brant Street may look like over the next 10 years.
You know, reinforcing what Thomas just said about Lakeshore, the Lakeshore precinct, Brant Main Street will be that retail destination in the downtown and have that retail Main Street character. We're going to have the feel of low rise along Brant, or 20 meters back from Brant Street, and then permitting up to a mid-rise building. So that's 11 stories in the definition of our official plan. So
And right along Brent, it's the 3 stories back 20 meters and up, right? Which is a fairly significant change from our OP now, because I believe the permissions along Brent, the whole length of Brent is 4 stories up to 8. So this is 3, and now we've tagged some on at the end, but a 3-story face is quite different in feel from an 8-story.
Yeah, and that really responded to what we heard through engagement, that feel of that predominantly low-rise Brent Street was very important to people. So I think this achieves both, accommodating some development and growth, but keeping that feel, that sense of being in a special place.
Still ahead, local psychiatrist Dr. Ashok Bhattacharya on time management and why it's important for your overall sense of well-being. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Halton News. When you spend too many hours focused on one area of your life, another area usually suffers as a result. In this next segment, Dr. Ashok Bhattacharya demonstrates visually what it looks like when your time is not managed well.
Hi, this is Dr. Ashok Bhattacharya coming from the Empathy Clinic, where we work on understanding ourselves and hopefully each other. Today I want to talk about time management. So imagine that time is one day. That we're just going to measure one day. And what these glasses represent are the things that we do in that day. So if the blue glass represents our work and the red glass represents our relationships, then the yellow glass represents looking after yourself. So if you balance out your day, assuming that there's 3 8-hour blocks in a day, part of that includes sleep, of course, looking after yourself, your health, nutrition, and your relationships, and of course your work. Now, if each glass represents a third of the day, and if you don't have the amounts that you should have in your investment in that time, but more importantly in yourself, then there's going to be a problem. Because let's see what happens if we start filling up one glass at a time. So let's say that you were going to put our work into our relationships. Let's see if we can empty that in. Wow, there you go. Isn't that nice? Now, that doesn't leave much time left over for yourself. Let's see how much we can fill that up. Oop, little spill here. There. So as you can see, there's a problem here because that doesn't leave much time for yourself. So that usually gets transported over to the next day and the next day and the next day until eventually that begins to accumulate and you might have a problem, either with your health, your mood, or your relationships and work. So next time you're figuring out your time management, make sure that your time management adds up because you have to look after yourself. Take care and stay safe.
While you may have felt a few raindrops depending where you are in Halton today, overall another beautiful day with a mix of sun and clouds. Taking a look at our 5-day outlook now, the next 3 days are looking great. A mix of sun and cloud tomorrow with a high of 26, then cooler on Friday, only reaching 22. Full sunshine on both Friday and Saturday. Enjoy that before the rain comes. Cloudy skies are expected both Sunday and Labor Monday. Tune in tonight right here on YourTV for another edition of Sports Week. Al Galloway's guest is OJHL Commissioner Marty Savoy. One of the topics discussed is league expansion.
Back when we were 39 teams, 38 teams, the motion that our board took was to get to 24 teams. That's the number that they wanted. Through a number of different things that happened, we got down to 22. So there was always that room for 2 when they were ready to go. We went through about 5 years ago a program that we were going to bring 2 teams in, and it didn't work with our governing bodies to bring them in. But now we have both the OHA and the OHF that are sitting on the selection committee of the teams that will be coming in. So our board's approved up to 2 teams. I can't confidentially, how many people have signed up, but it's been overwhelming, the response of people trying to get into the league. So we are looking forward to it. And again, the difference between this time around and the last time is that we have the support of the governing bodies that sit right there with us when we interview and go through the process of the selection of the 2 possible teams.
Cogeco announced today that the corporation has received an unsolicited, non-binding proposal to purchase the company from a joint offering between Altus, an American telecom giant, and Rogers Communications. The bid valued Cogeco at approximately $4.9 billion. The proposal has gone before the Cogeco Board of Directors for review, but the O'Day family, who controls the majority of Cogeco's voting shares, indicated that they do not intend to sell and will not support the proposal. The Milton Breakfast Club wants to welcome you out of hibernation. They're hosting their first non-virtual breakfast club in a very long time. They're encouraging members to get out of the house and into the south side at Main to enjoy a delicious, socially distant breakfast at 200 Main Street East in Milton. If you register a week in advance, tickets are only $15 plus HST for members, courtesy of Benzel Consulting. Milton Chamber members have the opportunity to pitch from the podium in the 3-minute spot for an additional $10 plus tax. For more information or to register, please visit miltonchamber.ca. And now we'll look to how some of Halton's top companies are performing on the markets today. We do need to take a short break, but we'll be right back with the Burlington Food Bank. September is Hunger Action Month. More on that ahead. You're watching Halton News, and I'm Jessica Kading. September is Hunger Action Month. The Burlington Food Bank continues to educate as the number of people they've been assisting this year continues to climb.
As we said yesterday, we're going to be trying to talk to you a little bit about the education portion of food banking here in Ontario, and especially for us here at the Burlington Food Bank. For us in 2020, we've already seen 90% of the number of clients that we had in 2019 have already come and used our assistance, and we're really happy that we've been able to be here for people. And included in that number is 41% of those people are brand new to having to use a food bank, especially us here in Burlington. So we're happy that we're able to help you out. If you're one of those people who aren't using a food bank and still need our assistance, make sure that you email us info@burlingtonfoodbank.ca or call us 905-637-2273. And the other great news for us here is Feed Ontario have actually asked us, as one of only 5 food banks in Ontario, to do a survey related to COVID and the effects on the financial strains on people who have to use food banks. And so we'll be doing that over the next few weeks for all of those people who call in. It's an anonymous survey and it's totally optional, up to the people who are being asked to fill out the survey just through a normal intake process. So again, if you're able to help us out in taking that survey, we'd appreciate it. And again, thanks so much for all that you do to support us here at the Burlington Food Bank.
One Pandemic Day is a movie that documents one day during the COVID-19 pandemic in the town of Oakville. Families are coping with financial stress, homeschooling, worrying, and loss of livelihood. This documentary takes you behind the scenes of other locals who went through the same experiences you did trying to cope. Here's a clip from the movie trailer.
The government must be in a position to take any and all actions necessary. That is why today Ontario has declared a state of emergency.
April 14th.
This is your mayor, Rob Burton, and this is a day in a pandemic.
We're now into week 5 or 6. I've lost track.
I totally forgot what life was like 4 weeks ago.
It's been really surreal.
Strange times for sure.
All public libraries, private schools, child care centers, all theaters, cinemas, and concert venues are closed immediately.
And he's gone from all of that to basically this.
We're pretty much stuck with just going out for walks.
Not another walk.
I miss the get-together of the family.
Not being able to see my friends.
And I can see my school that I'm not working at the moment.
Kind of crazy, all of a sudden school just stopped and classes were over.
That's a big learning curve for all of us.
I will be checking my Google Classroom.
Still working on that essay?
Yeah. 1 goes into 2, and it goes up by 2 goes into 4.
You lost me somewhere in there.
It's kind of hard to do this kind of thing at home, right?
It's been really challenging. Borders started closing, flights started stopping.
No flying planes right now.
For the safety of everyone involved.
There's people that are sick on that plane. I don't want you coming home.
It's become a really small world.
We have to say, what could we do that would not involve actually going and doing things in person?
Welcome to a pandemic edition of Oakville Matters.
He's set up at an old desk with a very uncomfortable chair.
This company's having to sort of shift gears on how they're doing things.
The fact that we're closed means we just generally don't have any revenue. There's bills to pay. And when we do reopen, we're going to be carrying a lot of debt.
The heat is off, the cleaner was canceled, and we're looking at lots of ways to save money. My bigger concern right now is people who've never been in poverty.
It's heartbreaking.
Blessings and thanks to our healthcare workers.
Being a doctor doesn't come without risk. Being a frontline worker of any sort.
The trailer goes on to talk about the resilient scene in Oakville as families and business came to terms with the new reality and found new ways of doing things. The full trailer can be found at onepandemicday.ca, where you can also purchase the full movie for $9.99. Your purchase will directly support Oakville's local cinema, film.ca. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank you for tuning in to Halton News right here on YourTV. We'll be back with another live edition tomorrow night at 5:30. Until then, I invite you to connect with us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at YourTV Halton. You can also email us at haltonnews@cogeco.com. And for more content, visit us online at yourtv.tv. For Halton News, I'm Jessica Kading.